which maybe speaks to just how great Josh Allen is that he's in the same 5-year span that he leads the league in turnovers, all quarterbacks in turnovers. He also has the second most wins during that time. So his ability to overcome a lot of his mistakes and still win football games is pretty remarkable. But last year, he had a career-high 18 interceptions. This year, he's cut them by a third, or actually by two-thirds. He's only got 6 this year. And so Stink's Telestrator Tuesday assignment was to take a look into what's different with Josh Allen. You did a deep dive into how the Broncos won last year in Buffalo. I know a lot of Bronco fans are pointing to that as, hey, they did it last year, and they did it with Russ. They did it with most of these same guys, same coaches. Is there a blueprint? You unfortunately looked at the game last year and said, no, there's no real blueprint.
No, you had a few balls go through their hands that they very catchable that helped the Broncos out. Broncos got to 4 turnovers, which were huge in that football game. And the other thing that when you look at I was going back through my notes here. One of the things that the Broncos defense did, you saw a few times where they, and I don't like this, where they only rushed 3 and they had a spy on Josh Allen, right? And the spy usually was Nick Bonito. And the couple times that I did see it, it never really worked. They had a drop pass one time. Because I just think that Josh, even if you have Nick Bonito spying on him, now you're taking him from rushing the passer, rushing and getting pressure on him, to all of a sudden just staying right there in the middle and trying to follow him. If Josh Allen takes off and runs, he's bigger and faster than Nick Bonito. And so I really don't like that approach. We'll see what it looks like from Vance if they try to do that a few times during the game or not. I'm hoping that they don't. But I think overall, to kind of sum it up, the Broncos need to be aggressive. They need to take some chances. You're going to have to get some turnovers. You're going to have to tackle much better than they did in that football game. And I really do think if they keep it close, the pressure is all on the Bills, and the Bills will find a way to screw it up.
We say good morning and welcome in our pal Mark Schlereth, who joins us now. Good morning, Stink.
Good morning, fellas. How are you? Must have been snow in Denver, huh?
Well, there's not that much, but Stoke went full Juwan James on us at about 10 o'clock last night.
Wow, really?
Juwan James.
Holy Moses.
Oh, wow. I didn't think I'd be compared to Juwan James.
That's really low. I mean, taking a Roby day is one thing, but going to Jewel.
Yeah, that was maybe a little mean.
Yeah, that was over the top.
I'm sorry, Stoke. I'm sorry. As one texter said it, as one texter put it, you're a lot less soft when you admit that you're soft.
Yes, exactly. I realized it was a really soft move today. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to risk it or not. It was questionable, and but the wife was pushing me, don't go for it today. And I just – sometimes you got to listen to the signs out there, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how, as I've gotten older, I've learned sometimes there's just signs in the universe. And it was just one of those things I was thinking about it. Should I do it? Should I not? And if you're overthinking it, just be safe. Wifey said don't do it. Next thing you know, I'm going to slide off the road and I'm going to say, she was right. I should have listened to her. So that's why I just said abort. Abort, not going to do it.
Yeah. I walked to work today in 19, 18-degree weather. Could have gotten wind chill. But I didn't. Look at me.
Well, you're Alaskan tough,
Yeah,
so there's a difference. You're Buffalo tough, and the Broncos. Wow, hey, Ty.
Wow, Ty.
Whoa, wait a minute. Now, Ty. Now, Mark's catching strays. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah,
what are we doing?
What are we doing? Hey, I want to jump into some of the things that we've talked about already this morning, and Stink, bring you in on the conversation. Mike McGlinchey yesterday was talking about how, man, you should be in this building today. It's different. It's like a bolt of energy has gone through this building. Garrett Bowles is walking around with a smile in the meetings. He's getting a chance to go to the playoffs for the first time. You're seeing a bounce in the steps of the employees, the people who have worked behind the scenes here for years, they've got an extra bounce in their step. People from the training staff, the equipment staff, they've got an extra bounce in their step. Is that something that both of you with a lot of playoff experience between you, is that something that happens, that after the long grind of the season, it is noticeable? It is something you can feel and see once you've clinched that playoff berth and now you're preparing for a playoff game?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I was never in an organization that wasn't, when I came into Washington,
true.
They were a playoff standard team. And then when I came to Denver, we had 1 year where we missed the playoffs, in my first year. We were 8-8, but we were trending the right way at the end of it. So I never had this situation where there was this long playoff drought. But does it energize you? Yeah. Does it, the regular season is done. Now it's the playoffs. It energizes the whole organization. It energizes, frankly, Mike, it energizes the city. I wish I was there right now because I'm sure the city would be completely energized. And when you walk around town or you go out to dinner, with your wife and kids or whatever the case may be, man, the city has some real energy about it. I'm sure people are super excited. And in that facility, it has been doldrums for, 8-9 straight years. I'm sure that whole facility is energized by this playoff opportunity. So, yeah, I'm sure it's great over there right now.
Yeah, when I was in Baltimore my second year, expectations were low for that team. And then you make it to the playoffs, and Mark's right. The whole city is just like on cloud nine, and the people in the building that haven't experienced that feeling. It's a different vibe. It's different energy, and had the same thing in Seattle in 2000. Pete Carroll's first year there, and all of a sudden, as a first-year coach, you're going to the playoffs, and we won a playoff game. We beat Sean Payton and the defending the defending Super Bowl champions. Take that, Sean, and the feeling in the city and the building, it's just different. And so I'm sure those all the people that are in that building, some people have never had playoffs before. Some people were around, obviously, in 2015, but some haven't. It's just different energy, different vibe.
Is there a downside then to all that? Because Sean Payton was talking yesterday about how, one of his big tasks this week, especially early on, Mark, is just making sure that we keep everybody's eye on the prize, right? There's a lot of euphoria. He used the word euphoria surrounding the Broncos, ending this playoff drought, getting into the playoffs, and I would think that there's a fine line that this team walks this week. Is it they're all hungry and excited and confident and they can't wait to get on a plane to go to Buffalo to go out there and shock the Bills and shock the NFL world? Or is there almost an exhale? And these guys are like, wow, we did what nobody said we could do. We've exceeded expectations. And do they take on that mentality of, well, just kind of happy to be here?
I think you got to fight against that, but I think ultimately you look at where the Broncos are right now, where their history is, what they've done, the lack of playoff experience that anybody has on that roster unless they came from somewhere else. Nobody who's been here for any length of time has any playoff experience. So the bottom line is you want to go out and shock the world, man. And you understand the euphoric nature of what's going on in the city right now, but you also understand that still nobody believes. Like if we go through picking, like the national shows, nobody's picking the Broncos to win. Everybody's like, hey, congratulations, Broncos. You had success. Hey, congratulations. You've overachieved. So now it's over. And so the only guys that are going to believe, or the only people that are truly going to believe that the Broncos can have playoff success are the guys within the four walls of that facility. Beyond that, there's nobody, on a national stage and very few people locally that are going to pick the Broncos to go out to Buffalo and beat one of the best teams in the National Football League. It's just not going to happen. So you do have that mentality, us against the world. That's a strong place to play from. So I don't really worry about them going, oh, thank goodness we've arrived, we've accomplished everything we wanted to accomplish. Now it's time to pack it in. I don't think that happens.
No, I think you have to concern yourself a little bit with just a letdown and because it's been a 3-week run here where all you needed to do was win one football game, and you're in. And, you lose the Chargers game. Then you lose the Bengals game. And now you got one game to get in. And that's what we've been talking about the whole time is winning record.
Wait. Well, what happened to Chill, Mountain Man, Mountain Air, Brandon Stokley? Hey, Mark, hey, Mike, don't be anxious about this Kansas City game. Don't worry, they got this. Now, all of a sudden, you got stuck at the top of your driveway again, and you're back to old Stoke. You're
last
this
week
could go wrong, and this could go wrong, and you got to go against this.
Well, Stoke, last week you were freaking Grizzly Adams. This week, like this week,
let me finish.
What the heck's happened?
Can I finish?
Got to get him back to the mountains.
I mean, I know we got to get him back to the mountains, not Mount Crumpet either. We got to get you to the real mountains.
I know. Well, Mark talked for 6 minutes there. I just wanted to try to finish my 2 minutes here. That's it. Just maybe even a minute.
All right, sorry.
Let me wrap this thing up here. Maybe it'll make more sense.
Yeah.
So I think you do have to worry about that because that's human nature, right? All of a sudden you've accomplished a lot this year. And so you haven't been in the playoffs in forever, and everyone's feeling great, and the vibes are great where you're just kind of like, okay, this is just lagniappe. This is just extra. This is free. Let's just go out there and have fun. And maybe you don't pay attention to the details or you're not maybe watching as much film or whatever the case may be because, hey, the regular season's over. We accomplished so much. But the one thing about this football team, I'll tell you, is I've trusted them, and I believe in them that they're going to do the right things, that their approach is going to be the right way, and they're going to go out there and they're going to do what they've done all year long, and because they've handled themselves like pros, and they did it against Kansas City when a lot of people and some people worried, or are they going to overlook them because they got the backups in or whatever the case may be. They've proven all along that this team is a group of pros and they handle their business the right way. So I don't think that they're going to do it like I was talking about and feel like they've already accomplished everything and everything is lagniappe the rest of the way. I think they're going to handle themselves the right way.
So a big theme this week will be the Broncos' relative lack of playoff experience. And Mike McGlinchey was talking about this yesterday. One of the few guys coming over from San Francisco. He's got playoff experience. Stink, you talked about the teams you were part of always were kind of already in that playoff mindset. You had guys that had a lot of playoff experience. Stoke, you brought up a couple examples where you went into situations where there wasn't a whole lot of playoff experience. At the end of the day, Stink, I'll start with you. Does playoff experience or lack thereof matter?
It's interesting that you ask this because I think it always comes down to like Super Bowls and over the last several years, like the team with the least number of guys who have, competed in the Super Bowl were winning those games. Playoff experience, does it matter? Sure, it matters. It matters when you have guys that have been there, have professionalism, understand how to handle the pressure and all that kind of stuff. But how much does it matter? Maybe just a little bit, maybe just a little in your preparation. Ultimately, when the ball's kicked off, it's just about who executes once the ball's kicked off, which team. And because you have some playoff experience doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to, out-execute the other team because you have experience doing it. Maybe it just has to do with who's got playoff experience at the quarterback position, who's got playoff experience at critical positions maybe. But ultimately, it's just the team that executes. So does it really matter? I don't know how much it really matters, Mike. I think a little bit in understanding how to prepare for it, but ultimately, when the ball's kicked off, you're not thinking, hey, at least we have more experience than those guys over there. You don't think about stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it matters just like Mark said, it just matters about your preparation and how you handle the week and the pressure now of playoff football. It's just different. Every possession matters. It can send you to the next week playing or it can send you home. And so I think handling the pressure of the situation and the moments, if you had good playoff experience, that's huge. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs and you're Mahomes and Andy Reid, you're playing with house money a little bit. You don't feel the pressure that maybe a Buffalo is going to feel. Buffalo has had awful playoff experience. That's not good. That's a negative. What do you think they're going to be feeling there if they're down 4 points with a minute left, or they're up 2 points with a minute and a half left and the Broncos have the ball. I mean, they're not going to be thinking good thoughts over there. So I think having good playoff experience is a huge positive, but having bad playoff experience, I think that's a huge negative.
I just don't think it matters in football. I really don't. Because of the one-game winner-take-all nature, I think almost being blissfully ignorant is better. You just go out and you're not really burdened by any thoughts about, okay, well, we're veteran enough to know that, falling behind 14-0 isn't really good or anything like that. I definitely think in the best of 7 series or best of 5 series in other sports, having that experience, being able to handle getting blown out at home or losing that first game at home by a couple of points, how do you handle it moving forward? I do think experience or lack thereof does matter, but in this one game winner take all nature, I think it's vastly overrated. Playoff experience didn't help you guys when you lost to Jacksonville. Sorry, Mark. Sorry, I know that's painful, but right side is you don't win back-to-back Super Bowls if you don't lose that game to Jacksonville. I think you can agree with me on that. Buffalo, how about those Bills teams? You Bill fans, Zach Bye, who's going to announce today who he's rooting for. Can't wait for that. We know it's going to be Buffalo. But, when they were losing 4 straight Super Bowls, there's no doubt that their experience worked against them the more that they went back to the Super Bowl and lost. And especially playing those young Cowboy teams that were so ultra-talented. I remember I was covering those Super Bowls, and all the talk was, well, the Bills, they have all this experience. Dallas, they're so young. And then Dallas went out and absolutely blew their doors off. So I think in football, guys, it really is overrated as opposed to the other sports where it does matter. Any pushback on that?
No, I don't. Listen, I don't think it's I'm with you. It really comes down to how do you prepare. And, again, I say it all the time. Once the ball's kicked off, I mean, I played in a lot of NFL games, just like Stoke. I mean, not as many as Stoke, with 15 years and me playing 7 or 8.
Yeah.
But
it's not enough of a sample size.
Yeah, I did play in a lot of NFL games. I played in some NFL games. But never one time do I ever remember sitting down on the sideline thinking about, we have more experience, or they gave us some bulletin board material. Then once the game was in hand, I thought about maybe bulletin board material or whatever, and we shoved it up their can, whatever. But, you're so busy trying to execute the game plan and trying to execute your block. You don't have time to think about that stuff. So, yeah, I don't think it's that big a deal.
We got Stinks Telestrator Tuesday coming up here in about 20 minutes. But up next, can the roots of this Broncos playoff